My fiancé took every cent from our joint account days before the wedding, said it was just in case I flopped. So I killed the wedding and sent her dad the bill. She thought she could humiliate me. She didn't expect the eviction notice. Hey there. We're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Now let's get into the story. Alright, let me tell you how I almost got married to someone who planned her escape route before she even said, I do. Name's Jason. 31. Pretty regular guy. Software dev by day, Uber driver by night. At least, that's how the last year of my life looked while I was saving up for a wedding I never got to see. Yeah, buckle up. This one's fresh. So I was engaged to this woman, Vanessa. We'd been together almost 3 years. Lived together for 2. She was smart, funny, gorgeous, the type of girl that turns heads in a coffee shop without trying. But most of all, I trusted her. Stupid, right? We'd been planning the wedding for over a year, saving every spare dollar. I even picked up extra hours, started freelancing and doing weekend rideshare just to make sure we had enough for the dream honeymoon she wanted in Bora Bora. She kept saying it'd be the start of forever. Cute, huh? Well, fast forward to exactly 1 week before the wedding. I come home from work, log into our shared wedding fund, just to double-check how much we had left after the last vendor payment. And the account is basically empty. Not low. Not someone paid for the dress early low. I mean damn near wiped. At first I thought maybe it was a glitch, or she'd moved the money to a different account without telling me. Maybe to surprise me with something. Nope. So I walk over to the kitchen where she's pouring herself a glass of wine like it's any other Tuesday, and I ask her, hey, do you know what happened to the wedding fund? It's all gone. She doesn't even flinch. She just goes, yeah, I took my half. Her half. And I'm just standing there, trying to piece together what the hell I just heard. I must have looked like someone hit pause on me. So I go, what do you mean your half? And that's when she hits me with it. With this straight face, she says, I just figured I'd get a head start. You know, in case you flopped. In case I flopped. Like I was some startup company she wasn't sure about investing in long term. Like the last 3 years of love, rent, planning, and sweat meant absolutely nothing unless I turned a profit. I didn't even know what to say. I mean, how do you respond to that? How do you argue with someone who just admitted they don't believe in you, but still expect you to throw a party for 130 people next weekend? She kept talking. Said weddings are stressful, money's tight. She just wanted to feel secure. Said I was blowing it out of proportion. Said she didn't even touch my part. My part. There was no her part and my part. There was us. That's the whole point of marriage, right? Anyway, I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything or storm out. I just stared at her for a second, nodded, and said I needed to take a drive. I went and parked outside a 7-Eleven 2 blocks away and just sat there. Watched people walk in and out, listened to the buzzing from the flickering light over the ice machine, and tried to figure out how I was going to tell my mom that the wedding might be off. But the more I sat there, the quieter it got in my head. Because there's a moment, and if you've ever been betrayed, you know this, where the panic just stops. And what replaces it is clarity. See, it wasn't just about the money. It was the fact that she planned this. She didn't panic and make a dumb choice. She waited until the week before, then made her move. And she looked me in the eye and called it smart. You want to know what really hit me? She wasn't planning to stay with me long term. She was hedging her bets. Like I was her backup plan, not her partner. So I drove back. She was still on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Didn't even ask where I'd gone. She looked up and said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good." And I meant it. Because right then, I decided, I'm not marrying this woman. I'm not building a life with someone who sees me as a financial risk. But I wasn't going to blow it up loud and messy. Nah, I was going to do this quietly. Calculated. Because if she wanted a head start, I'd give her one. She just wouldn't like where she ended up. So here's what happened after Vanessa drained the wedding fund and told me, to my face, that she needed a head start in case I flopped. I didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't cry. I just went quiet. But I didn't go blind. I started watching. The rest of that week, it was like someone gave me a new pair of eyes. I noticed stuff I'd brushed off before, like how she'd started locking her phone screen way faster than usual, how she turned the brightness down anytime she got a text, how she never plugged her phone in near the bed anymore. It was always in her purse, zipped up tight. Now, to be fair, I'd never been the jealous, snoopy type. I never needed to be. I thought we were solid. But after the Head Start stunt, man, that little voice in the back of my head, it started screaming. So I got smart. I didn't touch her phone, didn't confront her. Instead, I started quietly documenting. Screenshots of the bank transfers, copies of vendor receipts, backup files of our joint calendar and wedding emails. I even recorded our conversations on my phone, not because I planned to use them legally, but because I knew I'd need to remember exactly what she said later. No gaslighting, no twisted memories. And guess what? The deeper I looked, the messier it got. She told me she'd only taken her half. But she didn't just take money from the savings. She'd also moved $3,200 from our emergency fund, the one we agreed would never be touched unless someone was in the hospital or out of work. That account was supposed to be off limits, and she didn't even bother to mention it. Want to know what she did mention? She wanted to upgrade the venue. I kid you not. We're sitting at dinner, like nothing happened, and she starts saying the hotel ballroom looked a little cheap in the daylight. Says we should invest in better lighting and live music. I just smiled, chewed my food, and said, yeah, maybe you're right. That's when I realized she was testing how far she could push it, how much she could drain without me blowing up. Like I was some human ATM that also happened to say, I love you. And still, I didn't snap, because I wasn't done watching. 2 nights later, she was in the shower, and her iPad lit up on the couch. Same Apple ID, sync messages. I didn't even touch it. I just glanced. One preview. Just one. Don't worry, babe. After this weekend, I'm yours. I froze. I didn't even know the number. No name saved. But the tone? The timing? It all added up. She'd been spending the wedding money, our money, and whispering sweet nothings to some Plan B guy. Plan B guy probably didn't know she was getting married that weekend. Hell, I barely believed it, and I was the groom. I locked myself in my home office and sat there in the dark for a long time. Not angry, not heartbroken, just calculating. Because at that point, it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the disrespect. It was about how this woman looked me in the eye, planned a whole wedding, smiled in engagement photos, and treated me like a stepping stone. Like the guy you use to upgrade your life, until something flashier shows up. That's when the plan started forming. Step 1. I texted her dad. Hey, sir. Think we can talk this week? Just you and me. He replied within 5 minutes. Sure. Everything okay? And I told him, not really, but I'll bring the receipts. So I met up with Vanessa's dad 2 days before the wedding. Now, to be clear, me and her dad, we'd always been cool. He wasn't one of those uptight father-in-law types. The guy's a retired firefighter, no BS, super practical. He always respected how hard I worked, even said once, "You're one of the good ones." That's probably why it stung even more, dragging him into this mess. We met at a diner, just after 10 a.m. I had a manila folder in my backpack, coffee in my hand, and about 3 hours of sleep in my system. He could tell something was up the second I slid into the booth. All right, he said, before even ordering. What's going on? I pulled out the folder, dropped it right between the salt shaker and the ketchup bottle. Inside, printouts of our savings account history, screenshots of the messages from the synced iPad, copies of the vendor cancellations, and a little handwritten timeline just to make it digestible. He didn't say a word for a full 5 minutes. Just read. Then finally, he leaned back, took off his glasses, and let out this low, sharp whistle. Jesus, I gave her 10 grand last month for a wedding surprise. I just blinked. Wait, what? He nodded. Said she wanted to buy you something special, something meaningful. Thought maybe she was getting a private musician or some custom gift. Nope. She was just funding her Plan B lifestyle with anyone willing to open their wallet. I swear, he looked like someone had kicked him in the ribs. Then he said something I'll never forget. She's not the girl I raised. I don't know who the hell that is anymore. And right there, over a plate of untouched pancakes and 2 cold coffees, we agreed. This wedding wasn't happening. He didn't even flinch. I'll handle the family, he said. You handle the rest. So I did. That same day, I canceled the venue. I'd booked it in my name, thankfully. No cancellation penalty because of the 72-hour clause. I emailed the honeymoon resort, told them to cancel everything under both our names. Called the florist, the DJ, the caterer. Every single one got a polite email and a refund request, and every one of them came back with, totally understand. Sorry it didn't work out. You'd be amazed how fast things fall apart once you start pulling threads. Meanwhile, Vanessa was living in a fairy tale bubble, still posting bridal inspo on her Instagram stories, still texting her bridesmaids about how crazy but magical everything was feeling, still calling me babe and asking if I wanted steak or salmon for the rehearsal dinner. I played it cool, said I'd take care of it, said I was wrapping up loose ends. And I was. Just not the kind she expected. By Thursday afternoon, one day before the wedding, I'd nuked every plan she had without her even noticing. All that remained was the illusion. And trust me, I wasn't done yet. See, the lease on our apartment? It was in my name. She'd moved in after we'd been dating for a year, and we never bothered switching the paperwork. Which meant eviction was a formality. I printed it, folded it, sealed it in a white envelope, labeled it, for Vanessa, open after rehearsal dinner. The rehearsal dinner she didn't know had been canceled. Yeah, that was coming next. But first, I had one more message to send to the guy she'd been texting. I found his Instagram. Didn't take much. Turns out he thought Vanessa was single. Said she told him I was her crazy ex who wouldn't move out. So I'd met him one photo. A picture of her in her wedding dress fitting, smiling at me like we were still in love, with one line under it. You might want to find a new +1 for the weekend. All right, here's where everything started unraveling. For her, not me. Friday came. The day before the wedding. The day we were supposed to have the rehearsal dinner, meet the family at the venue, take cute pictures, do the toast thing, you know. But instead, I spent the morning double-checking that everything had been wiped. Venue, canceled. Florist, canceled. DJ, canceled. Photographer, gone. Guest list, deleted from the RSVP software I paid for. Even the hotel room block I reserved for out-of-town guests, canceled with a mass email saying the event had been postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. No one knew what that meant, but they'd find out soon enough. Meanwhile, Vanessa was living her own little rom-com fantasy. She spent the whole morning blasting music, dancing around the apartment in a white silk robe, snapping selfies for her bridesmaids group chat, and talking about how this weekend's gonna change everything. She wasn't wrong, just not in the way she thought. I had the white envelope ready, the one with the eviction notice, a full breakdown of every cent she drained from our accounts, the bank statements, and a printed copy of the iPad messages. No letter, no explanation, just cold, silent facts. I slipped it into her overnight bag while she was in the shower. The same bag she planned to take with her to the bridal suite that now didn't exist. Around 3 p.m., she left for what she thought was the rehearsal dinner. She blew me a kiss from the front door and said, "Don't forget to bring the champagne later." I nodded. Wouldn't miss it. The second that door clicked shut, I changed the locks. Dead serious. Had the locksmith scheduled for 3:30. He was in and out in 20 minutes. Vanessa had no idea she wouldn't be sleeping here tonight. Or ever again. Now here's the best part. She got to the venue and found it empty. No tables. No staff. No guests. Just a single envelope taped to the front door. On the front, Vanessa. Inside, a single typed note. You took your half of the money. I took my half of the future. We're even. Jay. That's it. No grand speech. No final goodbye. Just a receipt. And a reminder. Apparently, she called me 23 times over the next hour. I didn't answer a single one. She texted things like, "Where is everyone? Why is the venue locked? Did you forget something?" Then it got angrier. "What the hell is going on? Jason, this is so childish." And finally, "Come fix this now, or I swear." That last one, that's when I blocked her. I didn't go out. Didn't hide. I just sat in the apartment, cracked open a cold beer, and watched the sun go down through the window she'd never look through again. Later that night, one of her bridesmaids showed up at our building, banging on the door, yelling her name. But of course, the locks had been changed. And taped right beside the doorbell, the eviction notice. Legal. Signed. Effective immediately. I heard her scream from the hallway. "You're insane." But you know what? I've never felt more sane in my life. She played the long game. I just played it better. And the best part? I wasn't even mad. I wasn't seeking revenge. I just wanted out, clean, quiet, and with my dignity intact. And trust me, I got all three. So picture this. It's the morning of the wedding. Vanessa wakes up at her friend's place, probably expecting mimosas, glam squads, flower deliveries, all the sparkle and chaos that brides live for. Instead, Her phone is blowing up. Not with congratulations. With questions. The hairstylist never showed. The photographer never arrived. The limo company canceled. And the hotel front desk has no record of her suite reservation. That's when it hit her. This wasn't a mix-up. This wasn't a delay. This was done. From what I heard later, she went full meltdown mode in the hotel lobby. Cried. Screamed. Threw her phone. Security got involved. She tried calling her dad next, expecting, I'm guessing, a rescue mission. But her dad? He already knew everything. And his response? He told her, you lied to everyone. You used people. You're on your own now. Click. Cold. Final. And 100% earned. Word started spreading fast. Her friends. Her extended family. The guests that didn't get the memo in time and still showed up at the venue, confused, standing in an empty parking lot in dress shoes and suits. Her aunt apparently posted a Facebook status like, if anyone has info on what happened to Vanessa's wedding, please let us know. Very worried. And someone else, probably one of my buddies, commented, she happened to it. Meanwhile, me? I was 3 hours away in a cabin I'd rented for the weekend. Phone on silent. No reception. No drama. Just peace. I didn't post anything. Didn't blast her. Didn't make some long rant about betrayal or broken trust. I just disappeared. And that's what really got her. Because narcissists hate silence. They hate when they don't get to control the story. She tried texting me from a new number the next day. We need to talk. I deserve closure. You humiliated me in front of everyone. This is abuse. That one made me laugh out loud. You steal thousands from me. Make me a backup plan, flirt with other guys behind my back, and I'm the abuser? Nah. That was the last message I read. Block that number too. A few weeks later, I started getting the rest of the story through mutuals. Turns out, her Plan B guy? The one she was texting can't wait to be yours. Yeah. He ghosted the second he found out she was engaged during their whole situationship. She tried to spin it. Said we were on a break. That I was emotionally unstable. He didn't buy it. And her bridesmaids? Most of them cut ties after realizing she lied about the money, the cheating, and the way she tried to guilt-trip them into helping with emergency costs last minute. She burned every bridge she had. Lit them all up like candles on a cake. And the cherry on top? The apartment, our old place, was on the market 2 days later. Cleaned out. Quiet. Peaceful. She texted my landlord asking if she could talk to the owner about a possible lease extension. His reply? The tenant doesn't wish to communicate further. Best of luck. It's been 6 months. 6 months since what was supposed to be my wedding turned into the most peaceful weekend I've had in years. People ask me if I ever think about her, Vanessa, if I regret how I handled it. Let me be crystal clear. I regret nothing. I didn't just dodge a bullet. I dodged a full-blown missile dressed in white tulle and highlighter pens. The week after the non-wedding, I took a solo trip to the coast. No phone, no emails. I just sat on the balcony of a cheap little motel with a view of the water, drinking coffee that tasted like ash and felt weightless. Like I'd just peeled someone else's skin off and finally remembered who I was underneath. The thing is, when you're with someone like Vanessa, you don't even realize how much space they take up in your head. How much of your energy goes into calming them, proving yourself, walking on eggshells because their version of support is really just control in a nicer dress. That whole Head Start thing she pulled, that was never about money. It was about leverage. She wanted to see how far she could tip the scales before I snapped. What she didn't expect was silence. She didn't expect me to quietly remove every piece of her from my life with surgical precision. No yelling. No drama. Just exit. She tried one last time to contact me 2 months ago. Sent a long email titled, "Please read," from the real me. I didn't open it. I archived it with a smile. Because by that point, I had already moved. New city. New apartment. New number. Same job, but I finally stopped driving Uber on the side. I didn't need the extra money anymore. Not because I got rich, but because I stopped bleeding funds into someone else's fake future. I also started sleeping through the night again. Didn't even realize how rare that was for me until it came back. Now, every once in a while, I get coffee near my old neighborhood. There's a venue on the corner, a wedding hall with those big white columns and the little arched windows. I walk by it sometimes, and I don't get angry. I just smile, because I didn't need vows to prove anything. I didn't need to say I do to someone who already decided maybe behind my back. I used to think weddings were the big test. Now I know. It's what happens before the wedding that tells you everything. And if someone shows you who they are when they think they've won, believe them. Vanessa showed me, and I believed her. So yeah, no wedding, no dress, no debt, and no regrets. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.